as special as can be. Everyone is special to all eternity.
Good morning, my friends. So good to be with you this Sunday morning. I'm Reverend Sage here with the Swedenborg Chapel community, and you can see Swedenborg Chapel right behind me in this picture of our beautiful chapel in springtime. I hope you've started to see lots of flowers and greenery around as the spring comes to life. And in this Easter season, we celebrate the stories of Jesus coming to life after the resurrection. So I want to read one of those stories to you this morning. And this is going to come from the Children of God Storybook Bible by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. So let's read the story and then we'll talk about it. Jesus is alive. 2 days after Jesus died, Mary and several other women went to the tomb where he had been buried. They were shocked to see that the stone that had covered the opening had been rolled away. They looked inside. Jesus' body was gone. 2 angels in dazzling clothes said, "Why are you looking for Jesus here? Jesus is alive. Go, tell the others." The women rushed to tell the disciples. At first, no one believed them. A little while later, the disciples gathered to talk about what had happened. Suddenly, Jesus stood right in front of them. "Peace be with you," Jesus said. The disciples were so frightened they clutched each other and trembled. But Jesus said, "Don't be afraid. It is me. Look at my hands and my feet. Touch me." But they still could not believe that Jesus was alive. "Give me a piece of fish," said Jesus. He took the fish and ate it, and his followers were convinced. Jesus really was alive and back with them again. They were so happy they laughed and clapped their hands in joy. Do you ever clap your hands in joy after something miraculous or wonderful happens in your life? This story of Jesus' resurrection is about the most wonderful thing that could happen in the life of the disciples, who, if you remember, were so sad and so frightened and so lost as to what was going to happen next after they'd been following Jesus all this time, and then they watched him die. But after his death, a few days later, he showed himself to the disciples again and showed that he could not die, and that this was central to the good news that Jesus was bringing to the world, and that the disciples could bring that good news to the world as well, and that we all together could be at peace. Now, the story of the resurrection is a big story. It's a big, mysterious story that some people find very hard to understand or to believe. But let me just tell you one little secret. It may be a big story that's a little bit hard to hold and to always understand fully. But if you spend any time alive and looking around, you will know that resurrection is real. That life is constantly being resurrected anew, and the springtime is the perfect time to remember that. Everything was dead over the winter. The leaves were gone. It didn't seem as if anything was alive. But now that spring is here, we are seeing all of this life emerge from under the ground that we couldn't see, and unless we knew about science, we wouldn't even believe it was possible. I want you to remember, friends, that there are so many things that we sometimes can't believe in until we see them with our own eyes. And that was true of the disciples. They needed to touch Jesus and see him eat a piece of fish to really believe. It can be difficult to believe until we've seen it with our own eyes. And that is the really special work of the spiritual path, is to believe even when we can't see, but to trust and know that life and love is always being renewed and given to us from above. So happy Easter season, friends. Enjoy this time of seeing the life growing around you, and keep those memories in mind for when the dark times of winter come, or when those times come when it doesn't seem that life and love is possible. Know deep in your heart that it always is. Happy Easter season, friends, and I'll see you next week as we continue to explore the stories of Jesus after he rose again from the dead. Bye, friends.
You have special things to do, making other spirits bright. That's why God created you to